Hey there. For those of you that are new here, I'm Chris. So I want to talk about something really important to me today. And it's a huge reason I started creating content 3 months ago, which is still crazy to say because I never thought I'd be creating content myself. I think by the time this video comes out, it'll be my 10th video. So it's definitely still early days. But what I already know is that I'm learning like crazy and honestly having a ton of fun doing it. So, okay, why am I telling you all of this? It's because I learned something really important since quitting my job earlier this year that I really want to share with y'all. And I never really thought I'd be saying this since as an Asian American that grew up in a pretty non-diverse area, I always felt pretty different, which basically meant I grew up with a lot of childhood pressure and insecurities, even though it's something I realized much later on. And I also realized that I pretty much went through a lot of my high school and college days really leaning on self-help and productivity guides just to make myself feel better. Kind of used it as like a crutch. And I tell myself that if I can just learn to be better and do better and work on myself like crazy, maybe one day I'd be really popular or have a lot of money, or maybe one day I just feel really happy forever. But here's what happens to people like me who go all in on binging self-help and productivity guides. We kind of slip into this mode where we just learn how to do more and more, work nonstop, create goal after goal, and basically say we can't be happy until we've done all these things, reached these goals. Well, guess what? Turns out that's not the point, and it never was. And even though we're watching all these crazy productivity techniques like the Eisenhower matrix or the Pomodoro technique or the rainbow calendar method, and how can we work so hard to try all these different things out and sometimes just feel like we're not actually getting better? Honestly, I got so tired of feeling like I was never gonna be enough. So today I wanna share my take on personal growth and what it really means not to kill yourself every single day just to live your life. And I also wanna share exactly what it means to stop seeing our life in progress and start finding our life in progress. Okay, so I said that I grew up with a lot of insecurities as a kid, and even though I don't tell this story to a lot of people, I think it'll help with what I'm trying to say, and hopefully some of you can relate. So when I was growing up, I was terrible at sports. I think my dad always wanted a kid that he could play catch with, but I couldn't catch or throw really. And my parents would sign me up for all these different sports. So I think by the time I was in 5th or 6th grade, I was signed up to be part of the basketball summer team, the baseball little league, and I also got signed up for competitive swim lessons too. And the thing is, I was pretty awful at all of them. Something I'll always remember is getting past the game-winning shot during one of my summer basketball games, and I think it was probably by accident. I ended up taking the shot and completely missing, just fat air ball. And yeah, like maybe it wasn't a big deal back then, and as a kid who didn't want to let down his teammates, it felt pretty bad, and I also just never got past the ball again after that. So yeah, it really didn't feel great. But point is, from the time I was in elementary school through middle school, I pretty much had zero confidence in sports, and I just dreaded gym class, always scared of getting picked last. But one summer in 8th grade, I was basically forced to go to Asia to visit family, and as you might expect, they forced me to sign up for tennis lessons there. So I went, and as you might expect, I sucked pretty bad. I think I almost passed out from heat stroke the first time I played. I think it was like the first 20 minutes or something like that. But crazy part is, some part of me actually liked it because tennis isn't really a team sport. You're on the court by yourself for the most part, and you're just relying on yourself, and you don't really have a chance to let anyone down. And I think one of those traumas I had from that basketball game was just the fear of letting other people down, right? So miraculously, when I got back to the US after a whole summer of playing tennis, I got really into it, and coincidentally, my friends also picked it up around the same time. So this weird thing happened where pretty much after school every single day, we'd go to the local court and play for hours and hours. And I didn't really have any expectations. I was just trying to hit the ball back, have a good time, learn some new things, right? If I didn't know how to do something, I would just try out new things until I figured it out. And we would just go every single day, over and over again. And honestly, the better I got, the more fun competing got, and the more fun everything about the whole sport got. And somehow it got to the point where I actually made the varsity team at my high school. And really, I didn't think too much of it during the time. I remember feeling great that I was finally great at a sport, but it happened just so gradually over years. And I guess thinking back now, to me, it really felt like one of the most fulfilling moments of my life, even more so than switching out of pre-med and getting into consulting or breaking into big tech for the first time and becoming a product manager. Just the feeling of improving and getting better just for the sake of progressing and living that adventure, just because the adventure was so fun. It was a really life-changing moment for me. Okay, so here's why I told that story and what I learned from all of of that. Turns out life is rough, uncertain, and most of the times things are stacked against you. So then you want to improve so badly just to get all the things that you want. It's already tough going through the process of changing and improving yourself. So why do we add on all this pressure and tell ourselves that we shouldn't feel happy until we become the person we want to be? What was it about playing tennis out there with no expectations and learning new things just for the sake of learning that made it work so much better than working my ass off in corporate, getting that dream job, and still feeling so unhappy that I decided to quit? Well, turns out that's pretty much impossible, and this part's really important. It's pretty much impossible to appreciate the journey when it just becomes an obsessive need to arrive at the destination. Maybe life is about continuous progress and just enjoying the small steps every single day, knowing that we grow because it's just in our nature. And from my own experience of trying to become the best version of myself I could be, I realized you can spend a lifetime looking at productivity guides and self-help books, seeing all these videos, blogs, but unless you learn that personal growth is valuable in and of itself, and not just because it helps you achieve your goals, you'll be able to finally build real intrinsic motivation. And what this means is motivation when we feel driven to complete a task just for the sake of completing the task itself. No catch, no ulterior motives, and I think it's having this kind of motivation that makes life really fun. All right, if you've watched this far, then you're a real one. So I want to share with you what you can expect to see from this channel going forward. I want to keep sharing lessons and useful tools you can take to make your lives better. Maybe different perspectives on old problems or some interesting frameworks to try out. And of course, I want to keep sharing life lessons as I'm learning them too. But I also hope that I can show other people obsessed with self-help and productivity like I am that it is possible to be satisfied with your life and still want more for it at the same time. Believing that you can find life in progress means that you can embrace the fact that you are constantly in a state of becoming. And basically that means you are enough today. And when you're a better version of yourself next week, you are still enough. So my promise to you watching this right now is that I'll keep sharing all these useful things every single week so that it can make positive change in your life too. And I'll keep sharing the raw, honest truth and the real story of how it's all going. Because really, there's no shame in how tough life gets. And maybe in return, we can just keep supporting each other as we all go through this journey together so that we can learn to be happy now and not just sometime in the future. I think it'll be a really fun time. So let's see where it takes us. All right, we reached the end and this was a lot. And part of me feels like I made this video more for myself than anyone else. And yeah, maybe it got a bit much at times, but it was fun. So who gives a fuck? Thanks for sticking till the end and see you soon.